Story today is Volcano Rising by Elizabeth Rusch. Kaboom! Most people think of volcanoes as either a sound asleep or blowing their tops off a fiery, ash spewing catastrophe. But volcanoes are not just destructive. Much more often, volcanoes are creative. They grow taller and wider, they form majestic mountains, and they build new islands where there were none before. Both creative and destructive eruptions start with a gooey melted rock called magma. Magma is from deep inside the earth. It rises up in a gigantic straw like tube. It's called a vent or an opening. The magma makes it to the Earth's surface and it is now called lava. And a burst of lava is called an eruption. Now, magma is made up of gases as well as melted and partially melted rock. As it rises and fills the huge underground chambers, pressure builds and builds and builds until the magma is forced up and out of the volcano's vent. Erupted magma can spurt out and flow down a volcano like red hot syrup. This fluid lava cools to form either spiky chunks called aha or smooth, ropey surfaces called pahoi hoi. Magma can also burst into the solid chunks that we call tephrae. Tephrae can be tiny bits of ash, lightweight gas-filled pieces, pumice, or solid rocks and boulders, lava bombs. But what determines whether a lava erupts peacefully or dangerously? I don't know. We'll have to find out in the book. Pow! Gas blasts lava out in an explosive eruption. Or gas and lava slowly seep out in a creative eruption. The gas determines whether an eruption creates or destroys. Rising gas pushes lava out of a volcano. In destructive eruptions, gases get trapped inside the thick magma and ash. They're blocked and it plugs the vents. The pressure builds and builds until the lava and the gas explodes all at once. Just like soda from a shaken can. Now, creative eruptions, the vents are open and the gases escape slowly, kind of like you carefully unscrew a soda bottle. The lava and the bubbles spray like water from a hose or oozes out like toothpaste from a tube. Layer upon layer of lava piles up, forming lava domes. And over time, the peaceful eruptions can build mountains. Creative eruptions occur 3 times more often than violent ones. They happen all over the world in all kinds of different places. North sister, middle sister, south sister. A creative eruption can start with the ground swelling a tiny bit each year. Magma gathering underground creates a bulge that one day may make a new mountain. In the Cascade Range in central Oregon, 3 composite volcanoes, massive cones, made from layers of both lava and ash, sit in a tight cluster, as if they're having tea party. They're called the Three Sisters, north, middle, and south. But wait, what's this? A large area next to the south sister rose 4 inches, 10 centimeters, between 1996 and 2000, and it continues to rise. This uplift is caused by magma pooling a few miles under the surface. Scientists think that a new volcano, the West Sister, may join the party soon, giving us yet another spectacular volcano to explore. Now, sometimes creation happens more quickly. Volcanoes can appear out of nowhere. One day, the ground cracks and ash spurts out, forming a brand new volcano. In 1943, a farmer plowed his cornfield in the Paricutin, Mexico. Ash exploded from a crack in the ground, and it rained down, creating a steep cinder cone. And in one day, the cone had reached 164 feet tall. Oh my goodness. In a week, it stood 500 feet tall. Ash slowly buried the farm in the nearby village, but the family and the villagers moved to a land close by, and they began farming the rich, ash fertilized fields. And after a year at Paricutin, the cone was more than 1,000 feet tall. After 9 years, the cinder cone volcano, which stood more than 1,300 feet tall. Paricutin is considered to be one of the wonders of the world. It created a mountain, fertilized fields, and gave scientists the chance to study a fast-growing volcano up close. Volcanoes even make mountains underwater. If these submarine volcanoes grow high enough, the tips of those volcanoes will eventually form islands. 3/4 of the volcanic activity takes place deep in the ocean. And in 1963, a submarine volcano near Iceland erupted and created the island of Surtsey. A few years later, the island rose to be more than 550 feet above the sea level, and it grew to be more than a mile across. Moss and lichen took hold on the lava rocks. A bush grew here, other plants followed there, and finally seals, puffins, and other animals began breeding there. Surtsey now hosts a small hut for researchers, a new laboratory for watching what happens on the new island. Some volcanoes secretly erupt under glaciers, hiding growing mountains deep under thick ice. The Grímsvötn, Iceland's most frequently active volcano, lies beneath the country's largest glacier. The Vatnajökull, with only a bit of its rim exposed. But underneath the vast ice cap is a hot spot, a place where lots of magma from the Earth's mantle rises to the surface. This makes for a very creative volcano environment, causing Iceland to continually grow in size. It's getting bigger every year. Creative eruptions can continue for a really long time. Whoosh! Fountains of red hot lava squirt high into the air. Gurgles, stinky lava steams into the shore. Tss, fluid lava hits the ocean and steams and hardens. And once that happens, it forms new land. For more than 25 years, the shield volcano of Kalewa'ha, on the Big Island of Hawaii, has been in the state of creative eruption. Shield volcanoes have lots of vents, allowing the running lava to leak from cracks to form broad mountains that are shaped like shields. Kalewa'ha, constant eruption, has added more than 500 acres to the island. That's more than 314 soccer fields. No one works or plays soccer on these new areas yet, but they will. After all, where would the whole people of Hawaii live if not for the creative eruptions that helped build all of the islands that we call Hawaii now? Now, most volcanoes have both destructive and creative eruptions. Wham! They blow their tops, then they spurt, gurgle, scrape, and they get down to business of building a new dome. In 1980, Mount St. Helens in Washington State exploded, losing 1,300 feet off its top and shooting a high
unknown caller
black cloud high into the sky, higher than even the airplanes could fly, and moving slowly down the massive trees as if they were toothpicks. Right after the eruption, the volcano began oozing squishy lava pancakes and building a new dome, 876 feet tall. That is the height of a 50-story building. And then, after a 13-year rest, the volcano started again, pushing out huge slabs of hardened lava so fast it could fill a bedroom in a minute. It built a dome higher than the Empire State Building. Now, someday, Mount St. Helens will completely rebuild the summit, all 1,300 feet of it, maybe even more. It's not a matter of if, but when. Kabam! Boom! Ksh! Even the most destructive volcanoes, super volcanoes, can do creative work. Between gigantic eruptions, they can erupt gently for many years, and this helps them repair the scarred land from the previous explosions. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Yellowstone supervolcano had 3 gigantic eruptions that blanketed most of the United States with ash. Even over here, we had covered ash from it. Now, this land was swallowed up. Mountains were created by the giant crater, and this was called a caldera. Since the last destructive eruption, 640,000 years ago, 30 gentle lava flows have nearly filled the caldera. Some of these lava flows have been thick and widespread, as large as 130 square miles, twice the size of Washington, D.C. But the flow oozed slowly, moving at most a few hundred feet per day, smoothing out the land over thousands of years. To save roads, houses, and harbors, people have tried to stop creative eruptions. But even gentle flows are hard to stop. Engineers in Italy tried to dam lava flowing from Mount Etna. They diverted the lava, but they could not stop it. The U.S. Army bombed Mauna Loa in Hawaii to redirect lava from the city of Hilo. They missed the target, but luckily, the lava flow ceased on its own. And for 5 months, islanders sprayed millions of gallons of water on the lava from the Himalaya volcano, hoping that it would stop the lava flow by cooling it. They slowed the flow, but still the eruption added 1 square mile of new land to the island and narrowed the entrance to the town's harbor. Still, people are rarely hurt by creative eruptions because they can usually outwalk or outrun them. In fact, if we inch up close, we can get to these supervolcanoes, even underwater, and we can watch it change the landscape in front of our eyes. Scientists send underwater robots to hover feet above a submarine volcano. They observe the ash and the pillow lava pushing from the vent. They're waiting for an island to be born. Visitors stroll right up to the edge of a bubbling volcano, leaking lava in Kilauea. They feel the heat, squinting at the red-hot glow of an island as it expands. Hikers climb into Mount St. Helens crater rim, smelling the rotten egg gases, hearing the rumbling of new rocks being made, watching a volcano as it rebuilds itself. Creative eruptions can give us a chance to witness the